bitch. Try to stop me, bitch. Speak into the mic, bitch. Yeah, bitch! Magnet! 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 Now, say my name. You're goddamn right. Bitch!
I am not in danger. I am the danger.
You're goddamn right. You got me.
Yo, other rappers claim to not give a fuck. Well, step aside, bitches, cause I give the lowest amount of fuck humanly possible. What? I don't give a fuck about anything. Fuck everyone and fuck everything. What? I don't give a fuck. I literally don't give a fuck about anything. I don't give a fuck about motherfucking anything. People care about shit. I say fuck everything. Fuck you, fuck me, fuck the sky, fuck trees, fuck the sun. I don't need heat or vitamin D. And fuck toasters. I don't need to cook my bread. And fuck coasters. I use a little plate instead.
All right, let's get started. This first test involves something the lab boys call repulsion gel. You're not part of the control group, by the way. You get the gel. Last poor son of a gun got blue paint. All joking aside, that did happen. Broke every bone in his legs. Tragic, but informative. Or so I'm told. We haven't entirely nailed down what element it is yet, but I'll tell you this, it's a lively one, and it does not like the human skeleton. Right. The lab boys just informed me that I should not have mentioned the control group. They're telling me I ought to stop making these pre-recorded messages. That gave me an idea. Make more pre-recorded messages. I pay the bills here, I can talk about the control group all damn day. All right, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day and thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down. With the lemons. Starts. Make some science.
Oh, I like this guy.
So do you know anything about this place?
It's the address.
Who is that?
I'm Mike Realm. Mark your calendars, horror fans, because the long-awaited Texas Chainsaw 3D drops.
You sick little monkey!
What the fuck, man?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm worse than Hitler?
I'll smoke it with you, bro. We'll go to the loony bin together. I don't give a fuck.
No one ever wants to pay me to have sex.
If I had a dick, this is where I'd tell you to suck it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Gentlemen, we are dealing with someone here who has absolutely no life.
Stuck up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Fuck you. Yeah, that's my message to you. Fuck you and kiss my ass. It's time!
What you are witnessing, dear friends, is the most enormous miracle of the machine age.
Oh, we're starting things off just fantastic, as always. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Being a little quieter than I normally am. My kiddo's here asleep tonight while I do the show, so a little quieter than I normally am, and I apologize for that. I also apologize for the late start, but I had to get her in bed in time to come in here and do this. So, I am, I'm a little, I'm a little shaken at the moment because I was rushing around doing so much and trying to get things done, prepared, and make sure I got in here on time, or at least close to on time. So I apologize if I look a little out of it this evening. I am. But thank you once again for coming back. Episode 32. We have made it this far finally, and hopefully we can keep on track. We've now made it 4 consecutive shows. That's 1 month, 4 weeks, one every Sunday. And consistently hung in there. I thought tonight might end up being a problem, yet here we are. So you've got me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to make it happen. So where are we starting today? We're going to start with a couple things today. I have a couple things I wanted to go over before I go into other stuff. One of which, I'm going to start it right away. Fuck it. Where's my proper button? We will go directly into, you know what really grinds my gears for a moment today. I didn't think I was going to do it 2 weeks in a row, but here I am with something that grinds my goddamn gears. And tonight, you may have guessed it, or you would be able to guess it easily, because you see me doing them and getting involved in them all the time. But what really grinds my gears is Facebook arguments. And I purposely get into them all the goddamn time. Every time I'm on Facebook, at least 9 out of 10 times, I'm probably involved in some way, shape, or form in a Facebook argument. And I get really annoyed because I've begun to realize that people are really willing to, and I guess it's not just on Facebook, but that's really where we see it the most at this point, but people are just really, I don't know, I guess I'm opinionated as fuck, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that anybody else might be, but they're really fucking stubborn and opinionated and constantly like just looking to be upset and offended about shit. And I see it on Facebook all the time, and I guess that's what it is. It's an urge to be offended. And I'll tell you what the reason I bring this up and why I'm specifically now currently angry about Facebook arguments. And it's because I was involved in one today, a good chunk of this afternoon. And it was that, and it's a tragic story. It's a very sad story, and I apologize if it brings you down at all, but it's just what I got involved in. So I'm in a group called Okay, But You're Wrong, Though. And it's exactly that. It's people debating all different topics and points of view and all sorts of shit. So it's exactly what you would expect it to be. It's just people debating shit. Somebody makes a post, everybody fucking argues about it and debates about it. So this one was a sad story about a 10-year-old boy who killed himself because he was being severely bullied at school for his colostomy bag because he had a medical condition, and the parents left him home alone, and he ended up killing himself. Very sad, I know. Oh, Stewie, what's the matter with you? That's not funny. It's not funny, but I'm trying to make light of the situation. It's not funny. However, so the argument was being made that, is there any responsibility or any blame whatsoever to be placed anywhere in a situation like this? Now, what I can agree with most people on that they were debating was, it's not the parents' fault that the kid killed himself, right? I think we can all unanimously agree that it's not their fault that he did this. It's, even at 10, as young as that is, at 10, he still made a decision that caused this, right? So he made his unfortunate, tragic choice. So it's not their fault that he's gone. However, the argument that I made in this situation was that although you may not be at fault, you definitely could have done more to prevent the situation. And people were really mad at me and acting like I was trying to place blame on the parents in this situation. And I said, look, again, I'm not placing blame on anyone, but the bottom line is, if your 10-year-old son has been getting severely bullied, as the article said that he was, and you know this, you're aware of this. It said his mom was out shopping. His mom was out at the shops. They said she had just come back from the shops and found him. His father was at choir practice. Now, to me, those are not essential activities that you need to be involved in, that you couldn't have brought your 10-year-old son that you know has been getting bullied along with you. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying you could have done more. If you were going out to the shops and your 10-year-old son you know has been getting severely bullied at school, maybe don't leave him home alone for an hour or two. Probably not the wisest decision you've ever made. Dad's going to choir practice. That sounds like a good thing to have a young 10-year-old boy involved in when he's been dealing with some shit. Bring him to choir practice, maybe a bonding experience or something, keep him busy. But leaving him home alone, not the best choice. Still not your fault it happened, but you could have made better decisions. And that's the point I was arguing. And many people were against me, telling me that I was casting blame, I'm an asshole, I'm disgusting. And I said, look, man. And I turned around. They were fighting so hard. What really got to me eventually is that these people were fighting so hard for the idea, because I suggested that, look, all it takes is thwarting a suicide one time and you could potentially save them forever. You don't know. But the argument was being made to me that, well, this was going to happen no matter what. And to me, that's a pretty big assumption or presumption on someone else's part, to assume the thought of a 10-year-old boy that's been getting bullied, that he is just that desperate to die, that no matter what was said or done, it was going to happen inevitably. And to me, I don't see it that way. I don't know what the kid was thinking. I don't want to make a presumption that he was that desperate that it was just going to happen no matter what. I like to look at it the other way and say, look, had you guys made better choices, maybe not left him home alone and gave him that kind of an opportunity, left him alone in his own head for an hour or two, perhaps you could have prevented the situation. That's all I'm saying. At least that exact situation, that specific time, that event would not have occurred because he wouldn't have been home alone. Would it have happened another time? We can't know. But that time would not have happened. And that's all I'm saying. And people wanted to argue against me, and I was only arguing based on the facts that were presented in front of me. A lot of people on there argue based on emotion, and they're not really debating to have a debate. They're angry, and they're offended, and if you present a fact to them that doesn't necessarily fit the narrative, the way they're giving it to you, it's problematic. And they get really upset about it, and I said, you seem to be pushing really hard for the fact that no matter what, the end of the story is 10-year-old's dead. And to me, that seems more disgusting than any argument that I have given you thus far. But that's it. That's what grinded my fucking gears today. We can take that down. That's all I wanted to get into. The other thing that we wanted to talk about before we got into the weird news and beyond was, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Netflix. Have you been checking it out? Or, in this case, Hulu as well. Because there's 2 new documentaries out. And unfortunately, I didn't get the logo to put them up here. I'm sorry. I failed you on at least that one thing tonight. I forgot to bring up the logos for what I was talking about this time. But that's okay. It happens. Anyway. There's 2 new documentaries out on Netflix and Hulu about, I believe it was the 2017 Fyre Festival. If you're not caught up on it already. I want to say spoilers ahead, if it, because you haven't seen the movies yet, but really it's a documentary, so what am I spoiling? It's all factual stuff that you could Google right now while we're talking. But yeah, the Fyre Festival, the Netflix one, which is the one I recommend more, although they're both good, but I definitely would recommend the Netflix one over if you had to choose. If you refused to watch two and only had to choose one, go with the Netflix one. And are you having trouble over there? I see you fidgeting with stuff. I see you fidgeting. All right, so the bot's not working. I'll bring it back up. Hang on a second. Chatbot. All right. We want to have that running, so I'm willing to stop for a second. But we want to bring the chatbot back up. But anyway, as I do that, yeah. So Fyre Festival, the one on Netflix, it's called Fyre Festival, the greatest party that never happened, and then Hulu has Fyre Fraud, and I would definitely recommend, if you've got the time, to check one or both of them out. I watched both, and the story, I didn't really know about this. When it happened, at least not as far as I'm aware of, it was 2017, and the Fyre Festival was created by Billy McFarland and Ja Rule, were your two ringleaders of this the event. The whole point of Fyre Festival was that it was promoting Fyre, which is an app that they were using. It was a booking app. So basically, if you have lots of money and there we go. If you got lots of money and need to hire somebody or want somebody to perform in your living room or at your birthday party, you know, you've just got like thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to just throw away, you could go on this Fyre app and book somebody like Ja Rule or, you know, I guess Blink-182 and all these other people. I saw Waka Flocka was on the list. You could hire them and just book them through the app, so you don't have to go searching for their contacts and how do I book this person, how do I get in touch with this person, etc., etc. So that was the whole point, was that's what they were building, was an app. They decided, as Billy and Ja Rule decided, that what they were going to do was throw this giant festival, a music festival, kind of to, you know, bring attention to and celebrate the work on the app. So they start developing Firefest, and I'll keep it to the short side of things, but they start developing this Firefest. It's in the Bahamas. They supposedly or had rented an island that was previously owned by Pablo Escobar, and they're going to throw this giant party. They bring models down there, these huge supermodels down to the Bahamas, and take lots of pictures of them and create this, you know, promo video and release it. Now, apparently, what they were told when trying to get the island was that they should not use Pablo Escobar's name in any promotional material. The first thing they did was release a promotional video with Pablo Escobar right there in the video. So they already screwed up and had to go through multiple different islands. Booked this show, didn't have enough money. Turns out along the way, Billy was just getting money any fucking humanly way possible and just doling it out left and right without ways, and borrowing money elsewhere and having no way to pay any of this back. They're booking villas and tents and yacht trips for people, packages that they can buy for tickets to come to the show. Half of it doesn't actually exist. They end up using FEMA tents. The long and short of it is that in the end, it's a disgrace. It's not the luxury experience that they promised people. It's a complete fucking mess. Half the people don't have a place to stay. All of the bands canceled and didn't perform. And dude, you know, was sought after by multiple federal agencies for all of his dealings in creating it. But the full story, as you watch it in the documentaries, is really fucking crazy when you think about the so Fyre burned down. Oh, didn't really get to hear it. Sorry, maybe next time. So Fyre burned down, but yeah, Fyre burned in a giant heap of rubble. It was an absolute disaster. I believe he's still in jail at this point after everything that happened, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit and definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't, because the like I said, the full story is really crazy about how they just refused to cancel this show, or he refused to cancel the show, right down to the last day, and actually brought people to the Bahamas for a show that really didn't exist, and that they didn't even have bedding and places for all these people to stay. So you're bringing them onto an island and basically stranding them there. It was really awesome, and the way they did the movies was great. Like I said, Netflix won first, Hulu won second. The Hulu one really focuses. They interview him, Billy, that is, Billy McFarland. Mainly, he's being interviewed in the Hulu one. I guess it was before he ended up in jail, so you kind of get his take on things. And you can see, if you watch it, and take your opinion as to whether or not he's sincere at all, or if he's a complete piece of shit, compulsive liar that was just trying to get as much money as he possibly could, which is definitely how I walked away from it in the end. So, that was, that's what I brought to the table today. Fyre Festival and yelling on Facebook, which you all know me to do constantly. What is that? Castaway 2. More than one person stuck. You don't get a rim shot for that one, though. I'm sorry. No rim shot for you on that one. So moving along, let's jump into what we really want to talk about. Let's jump into the stuff we really want to talk about. The weird stuff. The reason you probably come here. If you come here at all, the reason you do is for the weird shit that I have to talk to you about all the time, right? Right. All right. So first up, a story I'm calling thepope.com. And you can pray with the Pope from your iPhone. That's right, from your iPhone. Click to pray are not words you'd expect to come out of the Pope's mouth. But that's what onlookers heard during the traditional Sunday address from Pope Francis as he introduced Click to Pray. It's an app for communal prayer aimed at the young people. And the Pope said that the internet and social media are resources of our time. And I believe he also said that it was like a gift from... Yeah, he believes the web is a gift from God. And he... While over the balcony, as you can see over here at St. Peter's Square, he was gesturing over to a tablet, showing everybody in case the following had never seen one before. This over here is the Holy iPad. And I'll insert the intentions and prayers and the prayer requests for the mission of the church. So whatever the church happens to be praying for, I guess, at any given minute or any month of the year, it'll be displayed on the app, and you can pray along with the Pope. They said he tapped the screen several times before glancing up and asked the gentleman holding it there, did I do it? I wish that were a joke. It's not. I didn't write that in or anything. That's not a joke. That's part of the story. He was tapping away at it and had to ask if he got it done. The Pope has made earnest efforts to embrace technology, tweeting frequently, calling the web a gift from God. Now he's given followers a convenient way to turn their smart devices and see what the leader of the Catholic Church is praying for at any given time. We're not going to go... there's a lot more about the Pope's praying app in there that we don't need to discuss. But in the end, I mean, why bother going to church when you can participate from the comfort of your couch? And just so you know, if you are interested, the app is free to download with a monthly subscription cost of $6.66. But if you cancel, your soul will be doomed for all of eternity. Goodbye, Pope. We're done with you. I'm already going to hell, but if I wasn't, you know, I can just make sure of it every week on this show. Oh. You know, sometimes I forget I have buttons for this. I have buttons to do this job. I just push it and bam, story right up in my face. Because that's what we do. I God, I Pope. I poop? I do. Frequently. Probably more than you would be interested in knowing, but it's a little too late for that now. Next up, and I talked into the can, I know, you're sitting there and the few, at least one of you that has mentioned it to me just cringed at home because I spoke into the can. And I'm sorry. Okay? I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Next story is one that I am calling Robo-Douche. AKA the bragging Mecha Trump. So Trump wanted his Disney animatronic to brag about his skyscrapers. That's right. So the Hall of Presidents in Disney. And he wanted this, as this isn't creepy enough to look at, just walking through there. They're all a little creepy. We got Johnny Depp, who I didn't realize was, it's either Johnny Depp or Dr. House. One of the two, whom either of which I didn't realize was ever a president. And then this really freaky thing. But he wanted to tweak the script that the animatronic reads at the Hall of Presidents so that it would boast a bit. And it's according to something that should get out of my face. According to Team of Vipers by Cliff Sims, and he was a director of the White House message strategy, he's reported that the president wanted to add a line about how Americans invented the skyscraper. Quote, Trump, then I could add a little, which of course I know a thing or two about, right? That was the worst. If that was even close to a Trump impression, I apologize, because that was the worst thing. I don't know why I even attempted to put on a voice for a second there. His is one I just can't do. Disney objected, noting that a skyscraper wasn't really an invention and it was just a taller building, and they removed the line from his script, citing an advanced copy of the book. So yeah. Yeah, Trump trying to edit the script, and in the end, of course, failing miserably as he always does. What the fuck is going on with my stuff over here? I'm sorry, I'm clicking on things. In any case, looks like Trump is still out to prove he's a bigger dick than we already know that he is. I want to see Godzilla versus MAGA Trump. Not Mecha Trump, we've got MAGA Trump. You're trying... I think you're just mad that you didn't get to hear it the first time, so you're trying really hard to get it another time. That's what she said? Yeah, I think that works. Sure, that's what she said. All right. Up next, The Octopus Whisperer. I really could... There was no original title I could come up with for this, and again, for that I apologize. But The Octopus Whisperer seemed like it was appropriate enough. 84-year-old Boston man is hailed as the Octopus Whisperer. So, Wilson Menashe is the guy's name, and apparently he spent 7,800 hours of his life hanging out with octopi. That's right, that's the correct plural of octopus. In case you didn't know, you learned something today. It's not octopuses, it's octopi. And if it's James Bond, it's Octopussy. Do with that what you will. So Menashe palmed a squid in his left hand, like this, palming it, squeezing it, and extended his arm into an aquarium tank, watching as a giant Pacific octopus stretched out its arms to greet him like a friend. Freya is the name of the octopus that they refer to throughout the story, and she's got 2,240 suction cups that were hooked onto Menashe's arm, using their powers of taste and smell to gather information about the 84-year-old man known as the Octopus Whisperer, and the seafood treats that he was bearing. And he claims that she's just contacting her. You come to me, she's saying, you come to me. You come to me, the octopus. You come to me. A 3-year-old predator weighing 35 to 40 pounds is Freya. Her arms span 14 feet, and they pack enough strength to kill sharks and other enemies. That's not something I'm going to let embrace me like a friend. 14 feet long tentacles that could kill a shark is not something that I want to give me a bear hug. Maybe a high five at the best, but beyond that, I think we're good. But their interaction left no doubt that he has a special way with the cephalopod. whose body includes a large sack-like head, just like mine, and 8 powerful arms. I have 2 not-so-powerful arms. More than 25 years ago, he retired from being a chemical engineer and began volunteering at the New England Aquarium in Boston, and he spent 7,800 hours, the equivalent of 4 years working full-time, apparently, just hanging out with octopi. They said octopuses in the article, and I'm saying you're fucking dead wrong. It's octopi, bitch. Look it up. I've been able to interact with them from the beginning. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but I can connect with them. He said of dealing with octopi. And he's dealt with Freya and Professor Ludwig von Drake, a younger male giant Pacific octopus living in a nearby tank. So he said that sometimes he'll come home with hickeys all over his arm and neck. And they asked how he explains it to his wife, and he said, it's not too difficult, you stupid fuck. It's a goddamn octopus. No, he said it's not too difficult when you have about 10 or 15 marks next to each other. It didn't take too much. She also knew where I was anyway. And he's done volunteer work and which has included designing puzzle boxes for different octopus and rubbing their backs. I don't really know what back an octopus has. I thought it was pretty much just a head and then arms, but he wrestles their arms, and it's all intended to ensure that the highly intelligent animals receive the mental stimulation to thrive and stay healthy. 2 decades of working the largest members of the octopus species has not dulled his sense of wonder at the animals' adaptability and mysteries. And blah, blah, blah. He goes on to say that every octopus is different and how they play with their toys. And beyond that, we don't need every single detail. However, and interestingly enough, in a follow-up statement, Menashe did say that his talent with sheep and pigs, he tried his talent with sheep and pigs at first, but they just couldn't grasp it as well as the octopus could. And that there was nothing quite like the feeling of 8 arms grabbing at your dick and balls. It was like getting a hand job from 4 women.
That's awful. That's awful.
Oh, that's enough of that. Whew, what did I miss? Pie, pussy, doesn't matter. Where's my button? Where's my button? It doesn't matter because they both feel like warm apple pie. Oh, and the other message was shirt gravy. Shirt gravy, we'll get to you later. Where were we? Let's get some of these stories out of my way real quick so I can see what we're dealing with. The Octopus Whisperer. And moving on, our next story, which we're calling Never Let Go, Jack. Never let go. As soon as we get our, where's our image for Never Let Go, Jack? Never let go. Oh, we have to get rid of this guy first. Let's get rid of him. There it is. Now we're back on track. It's a man clinging to the hood of his alleged assaulter's car on the Mass Pike road rage incident, and it ends with a driver held at gunpoint. As if it wasn't obvious enough to you in the image alone. But a 65-year-old man named Richard Kamrowski, he ended up on the hood of a 37-year-old dude named Mark Fitzgerald's white Infiniti FX Friday during the rush hour on the Mass Pike. So apparently he drove more than 3 miles with this guy dangling off the hood like a T-1000, reaching speeds of up to 70 miles an hour, according to Boston 10. And they said that apparently it began with a fender bender between the two of them, and one of them tried to leave the scene of the accident, and he stood in front of the SUV. This was allegedly not a deterrent for Fitzgerald, who just kept driving at him, and he jumped on the hood to avoid getting run over. And he was quoted as, "I thought he was going to run over me. I don't think he stopped. He kept going fast, slow, to try and slide me off." So it came to an end when a bunch of other motorists boxed in the car and forced him to stop. And one of the Good Samaritans pulled a gun until police arrived. The gun haver, who claimed to have a license to carry the weapon, was forced to the ground for holding a gun. This guy's not being charged with anything, which is a plus. I think he did a good deed. Don't bother, leave him alone. He doesn't need to be charged with anything. Fitzgerald didn't say anything to reporters, but there was video at the scene that showed him accusing the other guy of assault, including he took my water bottle out of my car, he smashed my window. You can clearly see the windshield is shattered in the video of the car driving. It would seem, according to the story, that neither are innocent and both were charged. I mean, not for nothing, but the windshield could have been smashed from the guy, hitting the guy, or the guy, ending up on the windshield. And on the other side of things, maybe the driver of the SUV just had to take a really bad shit. We'll never know. Oh, where are we tonight? We're trucking along. We're doing all right. I appreciate you guys, hanging out with me. Tonight's a weird night for me, like I said. I'm just take a quick break in between for a moment to say that it is a bizarre night for me tonight. I very seldom, if I've maybe once ever, have I done the show while my daughter's here, which is why you've seen me constantly looking behind me. I just want to make sure, since I got the headphones on, that I'm not missing anything going on in the corner of the room over there, anybody peeking around the curtain because she's out of bed. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me, although I might seem a little jittery, that's why. But we'll get used to it, because there's going to come times where this is the situation, and I just got to get used to it and kind of figure out how we make things work so that we can continue, because I don't want to have to cancel this every time, my schedule changes a little bit, so we're working on that. But our next story up is one I'm calling Bon Voyage, Mom and Dad. I'll bring it up here. Our story here: a student allegedly called in a hoax or a bomb. They say hoax bomb, or a hoax bomb threat. It's whatever. He called in a bomb threat to avoid seeing his parents. Ain't that about a bitch? The authorities said the student's parents were on a flight to his city when he called in the anonymous tip. It was an easy jet taking off in France. It had to be diverted last week because of a fake bomb threat. It was on January 18th. It was a flight from Lyon to Rennes. I don't know how to pronounce foreign city names. It was in the air when authorities received an anonymous call that suggested there was a bomb on the plane. The pilots turned around, parked that shit, and found that there wasn't a bomb. So they said the person behind the threat was a 23-year-old college student in Rennes. He allegedly didn't want his parents, who were on the flight, to visit him, and decided to be the biggest fucking drama queen you could ever imagine. So they took the unidentified suspect into custody, and they charged him with false news, compromising the safety of an aircraft in flight. His next court date is May 21st, and if he's convicted, he actually could face up to 5 years in prison and a fine of almost $85,000. And that's that. Isn't that fun? And sorry guys, I'm really out of it. But to be honest with you, if I wouldn't want my parents to come visit me either if I flunked out of college and was spending all the tuition money they gave me on coke and hookers. Whew. Where are we? Can they charge Trump with that charge? The false news? Good question. I don't know. Don't get me started on fake news. Do you ever notice how full of fake news Facebook is? I know I talked about Facebook before, but like I am constantly hitting people in the comments with Snopes, throwing the Snopes link down there, because I see people sharing news all the time that is very questionable to begin with, and then if you just grab the article headline and run it through Snopes, it comes up in a millisecond telling you, no, this is fucking bullshit, this never happened, it's completely fabricated garbage. But nobody ever checks, so I'm constantly throwing Snopes links into people's comments to like remind them, hey, this story is horseshit. Please take it down or stop sharing it because you're spreading awareness of something that is completely false. Where are we? Oh, it's that time. It's that time of the night It's time for the shit story of the week. And no, I don't have a sound effect for it yet.
That's disgusting!
That's the best you're going to get for now. But yes, the shit story of the week. And today's shit story of the week is a story called Super Poopers. Yes, that's right, Super Poopers. As can be seen here, that's, isn't that a lovely image? Well, thank God for backup plans, because whatever, the story we did have prepared, there we go, didn't come up properly. But we're alright, I got it covered. Not all poop is created equal, and super poopers could be lifesavers, right? That's the headline. That I'm not exaggerating anything. These are the headlines. And it turns out the bacteria in some people's crap can be much more effective at treating a whole range of disorders. That's right, you're about to get treated with some hardcore shit. It's a dirty job, and scientists around the world are eagerly jumping into research on poop. They're studying feces, collecting feces, analyzing feces, breaking it down, and even growing and cultivating it because they've recognized its tremendous value. Come on over, boys. You about to make me rich. The rich diversity of microbial life it contains could hold the key to treating a wide range of diseases, from chronic diarrheal disease to diabetes, even psychological disorders and cancer. That's right, crap could cure cancer. You heard it here first. We're curing cancer with poop. And the latest discovery they've made in clinical trials is that for reasons that are not yet clear, poop for some donors is much more effective in treating illness. This realization could help researchers take the next step in poop-based therapies for a large range of disease. At the root of this research is a medical practice called, again, you can't make this up, it's a fecal transplant. A fecal transplant. Poop transplant. Transplanting new turds into your body. Replacing your turds with better turds. For about a decade, doctors have been using fecal transplants as a last-ditch treatment for antibiotic-resistant superbug gut infections. The most common target is C. difficile. I believe that's how it's pronounced, difficile, which they say it causes chronic and potentially lethal diarrheal infections, which sounds real shitty. Anyway, where was I? Sorry, I'm hitting all these buttons that I shouldn't be pushing at the time. But anyway, it causes problems for a patient and has had antibiotic treatments that have wiped out most of the other microbes in their gut. So that's why they're doing the poop transplant. A fecal transplant seems to work by repopulating your gut with its missing microbes, which can then displace and outcompete the troublesome C. difficile microbes. That they say it cure rate higher than 92%, which is amazing for C. difficile, and works in a couple hours. And they say the problem, though, is that while they can be an effective tool, they don't know much about how they work. So basically, they're just plopping shit in you to see what sticks. They'd like to understand which microbes are important and in what proportions, and this would allow them to move away from the crude therapy of dosing patients with the complex, mysterious mixture of microbes in a healthy person's poop, and towards a rationally designed mixture of well-understood probiotics. So rather than just filling you with someone else's shit, they would like to just be able to narrow it down to this little bit of shit. Plop that in there and fix whatever's wrong. And they have super donors who are the super poopers. And their feces is particularly good in clinical trials, and it could help with the problem. What people have noticed is that some studies where they use donations from different people, different donors, have different effects. And that's what they're trying to find out. What makes somebody a super pooper? Could I be a super pooper? Could my contribution to the world be that my shit was saving lives? I've been told for years that I'm full of shit. And maybe it was for a reason. It was to help all of you. So anyway, the ultimate goal in the end is to find out what's in super poop and duplicate it so we can have lots of fantastic crap. And so we're not dosing people with feces, but with a carefully cultivated and selected bacterial cocktail, if you will. And the story goes on a little bit longer, but that's really all we need to know, isn't it? We don't need every goddamn detail. All we need to know is that poop is saving people's lives. Maybe being full of shit isn't so bad after all. And if you're wondering, or have ever sat back and wondered, who cares if you give a shit? Apparently scientists do. Trying so hard not to press all my sound effect buttons all the time because I got yelled at for it and told I shouldn't do that. So I'm trying really, really hard not to just push all the sound effects.
No, sir, I don't like it.
So what I'm gonna do is piss and moan like an impotent jerk and then bend over and take it up the tailpipe!
Oh, that one felt pretty loud. Coming up next, a story I'm calling Cuddle You Later, Alligator. That's right. It's a man who says his emotional support alligator is helping his depression. This 65-year-old Pennsylvanian resident says his gator Wally eats chicken wings and shares indoor plastic pond with a smaller rescue alligator named Scrappy. It was York Haven, Pennsylvania. I don't know where exactly York Haven is, but I know Pennsylvania is right over there somewhere. He says his emotional support gator helps him deal with depression. He's a 65-year-old Joey, is that how that's pronounced? Henny of York Haven. He said his registered emotional support animal named Wally likes to snuggle and give hugs despite being a 5-foot-long fucking alligator. Philly.com reports that Henny says he received approval from his doctor to use Wally as his emotional support animal after not wanting to go on medication for depression. Wally was rescued from outside Orlando at 14 months old. Oh, we're clicking buttons. We're clicking buttons we don't mean to click. At only 14 months old. And he said that they repeat the fact that he eats chicken wings and shares an indoor plastic pond with a smaller rescue alligator named Scrappy. In case you didn't catch that the first time, I'm now presenting it to you again.
Hello, exactly!
Henny acknowledges that Wally is still a dangerous wild animal and could probably tear his fucking arm off, but says he's never been afraid of him. As I have to fucking scroll for no reason but to say that when he was asked what he'll do for emotional support once the alligator passes, he said he's always wanted a pair of alligator boots, and they're probably cheaper in the long run. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. All right, enough of you already. Holy shit, I forget how long some of those go on for. Oh, all right. Up next, and not quite last, but we're rapidly approaching, we're going to talk about the wall that porn built. Getting in the weirder end of things tonight is the wall that porn built, because there's an Arizona lawmaker who wants porn to fund the border wall. So first Mexico was going to pay for it, then we were going to pay for it, then we decided we're not going to pay for it, then a bunch of random people on Kickstarter decided that they were going to try and pay for it. That didn't work out so well, so now porn is going to pay for it. We've gotten to this point, folks. The House Bill 2444, and it would require electronic devices bought or sold in the state of Arizona to include porn blockers that would require a fee to disable it. A GOP lawmaker wants to fund President Donald Trump's border wall by squeezing money out of every Arizonian who patronizes pornographic websites. You may not make that much, because if you're talking about patronizing them, Pornhub is free. Republican State Representative Gail Griffin, she recently introduced House Bill 2444, which would require electronics manufacturers to pre-install porn blocking software on all electronic devices bought or sold in the state. To deactivate the blocking software, a person would have to prove that they're at least 18 and pay a one-time fee of $20 to the Arizona Commerce Authority. Manufacturers or retailers could also charge a fee for disabling it, according to the bill. Anyone who deactivates the blocker themselves would face a misdemeanor charge. The money that's collected by the state, according to the proposal, would form a number of grants which would, among other things, help sex abuse victims and fund the president's border wall. And the bill defines porn as anything patently offensive, material that lacks literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. It references the banning of revenge porn websites and addresses specific anatomical areas that cannot be visible in images, such as less than completely and opaquely covered human genitals, pubic region, buttock, or female breast below a point immediately above the top of the areola, human male genitals in a discernibly turgid state, whether covered or uncovered.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Mike Stabile, spokesman for the Free Speech Coalition, told the Arizona Mirror the proposal amounts to a tax on media content and would violate the First Amendment. Apologize. He said it's pretty unconstitutional. Said Stable, whose organization advocates for the adult entertainment industry. Similar bills have been proposed previously. Someone wanted Virginians to pay a $20 fee to unblock content on adult websites, but the bill stalled on the Senate floor. And it's been linked to someone that we don't give a rat's ass about. And actually, I'm sorry, we do give a rat's ass. I forgot about this. It's linked to a man named Chris Sevier, who last year he was reportedly issued a cease and desist by a child safety activist, Elizabeth Smart, and she didn't approve of him using her name on a similar bill that was introduced in Rhode Island. He first made headlines in 2013 when he accused Apple of being responsible for his porn addiction. And then he was in the news again in 2017 when he sued Utah for refusing to recognize his marriage to his laptop. The lawsuit was thrown out last year. He's been doing this all over the country, and he's a bit of a jokester. When they asked a resident of Arizona what they for his opinion on the bill, he simply stated that for a one-time $20 charge, you can suck my dick. It just goes to show that the residents don't want a border wall between them and their porn.
Well, no shit.
All right, we are rapidly approaching that time of the night. We got we got one more thing to run through, but before we do that, since this is working and we do have some folks here, we're going to go ahead and give this a try. Okay, so those of you that are here, you can. I'm going to run a giveaway here. Anybody can join. I don't think it's restricted to followers only. Although, if you'd like to give me a follow, please go right ahead. But I'll open up a giveaway if any of you that are lurking in the chat wanted to join in. I got some stickers. I unfortunately don't readily have one in my hand to show off to you, but they're on my Instagram. How about that shit? And it's right over there. If you want to see them, go check out my Instagram. I got pictures of the stickers that on there. I just recently posted them the other day. But yeah, I got a couple stickers to give away, so if you guys are interested and would like to try and win a sticker, by all means, go ahead and type !raffle into the chat box. If you're watching on the primalcast.com, you should be able to chat from there as well. So go ahead and give her a shot as we go through the last story. If you guys want to take a chance and win yourself a free sticker, do your worst. And in the meantime, we're going to go through our final story of the evening. And we're going to talk about weird but wonderful Valentine's Day gifts. That's right. Things they suggest possibly, potentially, picking up for your sweetheart this coming Valentine's Day. Number 1 on the list is the giant gummy python. They say that when it comes to gummy, anything bigger is always better. And this is a 6-foot-long gummy python. And it's sure to let your Valentine know that you are truly sweet on them. However, it's pretty heavy, so carrying it to your love can be quite a workout. Also, oh, where's my button? Next, a mobile phone teeth whitener. That's right, bitch. A tooth whitening device that can hook up to your phone, which will surely make your Valentine smile. Getting a little more bold with the gifts was a bouquet of stuffed STI microbes. That's right. Give the gift of a stuffed venereal disease. Its bouquets are a standard part of Valentine's Day, as are stuffed animals. In some cases, so are STIs. And the bouquet features stuffed versions of the microbes for herpes and chlamydia, and may give you the opening for a conversation you probably should have had already.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Next up on the list, I didn't think this was the weirdest thing in the world, but definitely, like, who the fuck is buying this and giving this out enough so that, it's a thing that they're advertising. It's the Jack Link's Valentine's box. They say skip the candy and chocolates and give them a lovely holiday-themed package of different types of beef jerky. This is one they won't have a beef about. Bob Ross underpants. That's right, because what could be sexier than underwear featuring the face of Bob Ross? And over here, we'll just paint a happy little penis. Happy little penis, just right here. Also, this. That's right. That's a geode dildo. Now, I had to look at this several times because I was really confused. Now, in the little snippet that they have, it says that I suppose a dildo shaped like a geode brings new meaning to the term rock hard. And remember, like the reference to being horny if you give the unicorn sleep mask, you only get to make that joke once. They never mention anything about the fact that this looks like it would rip a vagina in half. Like, it's a fucking geode. That can't be a functional dildo. Although it says it's shaped like a geode, maybe I'm the dumb one. Maybe it is still a rubber dick that's just a rubber dick that looks like a geode. Maybe that's the whole point. Because I'm sitting here the whole time thinking, wouldn't that fucking hurt? Like, you're turning rocks into a dildo? Maybe I'm the idiot. Yeah. I think I'm the idiot. Damn. That really sucks. Alright. Well, anyway, beyond the geodildo is this fucking ridiculous thing. What the hell did they call this? They called this the Shed Defender. So they love you, your Valentine loves you, but they hate the hair your dog leaves all over the house, right? So the Shed Defender, it's a doggy jumpsuit that covers the offending dander in a completely dignified way and doesn't make your pet look silly at all. Thank God I could sense the sarcasm in it, because what the fuck? It looks like that dog is getting ready to do the luge. No fucking way, that poor animal. Also, THC rectal suppositories. So you want to get high by shoving things up your butt? Somebody's got you covered. Anyone can smoke a joint before sex, but a rectal suppository with THC makes for a real cutting-edge cannabis copulation. Say that 10 times real fast. Yes, it's only available in states where pot is legal, but didn't you say you needed to use your vacation time? That's right. You could also give your sweetheart a portable oxygen container. You could give her flowers, but why not a portable oxygen container, so you can really show that you think they are a breath of fresh air. I didn't even look this up, but who the fuck is carrying around a portable oxygen, like, water bottle? People got problems, man. And last but not least, the adult playmat. That's right, the adult playmat. It's, basically exactly what the fuck it looks like. The idea of hot, sweaty Valentine's Day lovemaking on satin sheets sounds romantic, but actually, it's a real fucking mess. And since taking time out to do wash and wash your sheets is a real buzzkill, the easy-to-kill adult playmat is a godsend, because we all know that in the heat of the moment, when you're about to take your girl to fucking Pound Town, the first thing you want to do is stop and unroll a fucking playmat, like a placemat, and fucking lay it on the bed and plop her down on it and get her nice and centered there so that you guys don't make a mess. Chill out, you fucking germaphobes. I eat ass. I don't need this. Let's get it off my screen. Off my screen. And what we can put on the screen is that. Nothing special. Don't get all riled up about it. We're just showing off the logo. So that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And I wanted to say, as always, thank you for hanging out with me again, as you did tonight. And let's see. We'll switch over to the live chat for just a moment, even though I don't think I have the live chat really running, because I always forget to do this stuff till the last minute. But if you haven't already, you can follow me here on Twitch. Just click the button up there, making my way to affiliate as slowly as humanly possible. But go ahead and click the follow button up there. And you can also check out the primalcast.com. And you can get all of your Primal and Primal podcast needs as things start filling up my screen and getting in my way. Oh, my Lord. And anyway, while you're there, you can find all the social media crap that I have. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And, of course, while you're there, don't forget to check out the merch store. It's also down at the bottom of the screen here. I got merch store, so you can pick up some of the gear that I've put together. And, help me keep the show running as swiftly and cleanly as possible. Beyond that, I thank you guys, as always, for joining me. And let's bring up the big window one more time. And tonight we're gonna see who's online to raid. I always forget to jump into a raid when we're still here. I do really, really, truly appreciate you guys being here. And I'll be back again next week. You have my word on it. We'll jump into February. We're gonna start having some guests soon. Do me a favor, check out my buddies at Microphone Homies Pod on Instagram. It's the Microphone Homies Podcast. It's a couple buddies of mine that are really working hard and putting together a podcast. It's the guys that, at least one of the guys that did Kings of the Weekend is now doing Microphone Homies Pod. And it's good stuff. And they're like I said, they're really putting in the effort, and they seem to be doing pretty good for themselves. So you know, go give them a follow, check them out, give them a listen. They're on iTunes and Stitcher and all of that stuff. And it actually looks like... Doesn't look like there's anybody... Oh, actually, no. You know what? Kit Boga. Kit Boga's online. Kit Boga does... is where I got my inspiration. If any of you saw the scammer video that I put out a while back, I believe it was over the summer that I did that. I got the scammer happened, you know, to get in touch with me, and I dragged it out for several days. Well, Kit Boga does it over the course of several hours and much more professionally and hysterically than I did. But that's where I got some of my inspiration to fuck with the scammer from, was watching Kit Boga. So we're going to go ahead and raid him. And I'll get this loaded up here. You guys can prepare yourselves to jump in the raid and check him out. If you got some free time, give him a follow as well. He's really, really funny. And in the meantime, you guys have yourselves a good night. And I'll see you next week. Peace.